Let me, you see, this CJ matter, I think my brothers have spoken, but let me bring this perspective. There was a petition.
I beg you. I want the question answered.
Okay.
Before you go on. Otherwise, Martin Ebu, you have given him a question to answer and he spent time talking about other things. You were asking whether the CJ had said that by her suspension, she had been virtually sacked. Effectively sacked. Okay. And then I was thinking you wanted Martin to speak to it, whether that is true or not. That is very important. Whether she can remain as the Chief Justice to oversee her own, trial. But that's what he has said.
He said that she's not coming back.
No, he said that in the last part of the conversation.
Unless she wins the case. No, she can't come back.
Can she be the Chief Justice? Because you said that
he answered that in a form.
So don't worry, let's repeat to be clearer. What I'm saying is that if we can get a settlement that she should resign, exit, go. Okay. Yes, I'm in support of that so that we can reduce the litigation because it's embarrassing us, right? But if she's not willing to take a resignation, it wants to be led back to act, to continue as Chief Justice. No, that one is not possible.
Thank you.
It's not possible.
Yes, so let me say this. Sometime last year, late last year, Professor Azar brought a petition for the removal of the CJ. Yeah. That petition was acted upon and determined. Yeah. What did the president do? The president made a prima facie determination. President Akufo Addo made a prima facie determination on the petition, and on the 6th day of January this year, not last year, just this year, this 2025, one of his last acts in office as the head of state of this country, actioned that petition and said it was unmeritorious.
Yeah.
So let's bring this matter into perspective. The suspended CJ, as she is now, never applied for a copy of that petition. Not to my knowledge. She didn't go public about it. She didn't file any process. She didn't say that she needed to be heard before the president made the prima facie determination. So let me ask, was she aware that the prima facie determination will favor her? You see, when you cry for the chick, you must also think about the hawk. Was the CJ of the view that, oh, this one, it won't hurt me, so I shouldn't cry about it? Similar petition for your removal. No, there was no cry, there was no action, no public comment. But it was acted upon using the same Article 146 process. Now, another petition has come asking that it should be removed from office. The same process is being triggered. And suddenly, the whole world must come to an end. So I have a problem about her conduct in this matter. Because she thinks that now these petitions may bite her. So she must do what she's doing. I think she's abusing the court process. Oh. Please. She has handled a lot of cases. How do you say that in pursuance of a constitutional provision that matters like this, you ought to be asked to step aside? Then you make a determination that the stepping aside amounts to effective removal. You are placing your own interpretation on it. When your own court, your own colleagues makes a determination on the matter, you go to town and berate them. You berated some of us when we went to town to criticize, even when matters have been effectively determined. You think that we, even as parties, we shouldn't speak. I have a lot of cases in the court. Some have been heard, some haven't been heard. Me, when I was entering the Supreme Court, even as a party, I was searched. Is the CJ saying that when parties were entering the Supreme Court, we are not searched by policemen? I have been searched by a policewoman before, entering the Supreme Court as a party.
Touch your groin.
You understand? So she's become very petty about some of these matters. No, the Constitution says the matter must be heard in camera. Show me in the Constitution where divorce cases must be heard in camera. Not in the Constitution. But the Matrimonial Causes Act says, Parliament says, when you bring a case to court, if it's about divorce, we should go inside to the judge's chamber. Not everybody should hear it. So your children don't follow you. When you come to court, I have done cases where parents come to court with their children. When we are going to the chamber, the kids don't follow. It's only the parties. So where it's about, when the law prescribes how a thing should be done, Boakye versus NTAC, it's only that procedure that must be followed. Some of this can be negotiated without loud talk. Yes, I agree.
Like Martin,
yes, you don't do loud talk. You can say that, please, it's in camera, but you know the situation. So I want my husband to accompany me. I don't think that panel would have refused. But if you go to town, if you paint a do lodge as if it's a garrison in the Governor Barracks, where you are being tried.
Well, it's a question.
Yes.
As to whether, since the CJ's husband and her daughter are mentioned in the petition, is it not possible that they can be called in as witnesses in the pending matter? How then do we admit them in the proceedings?
Exactly my point.
Is that if she thinks she will call
if
them,
she intended,
find other people in her family.
No, so these are the issues that you can see that, yes, even though they've been referenced in the petition, you don't intend to call them. Perhaps the panel members may be pointing to that why? They are being referenced in the petition. You may want to rely on them as a witness. And that being the case, we may not be able to allow them. I'm also thinking aloud.
Okay.
These matters, we are not apprised of all the final facts. So the CJ should take her time. But is she assuming that should be removed willy-nilly? I think that is her mindset. Otherwise, I'll go through this matter. For all you know, I'll be exonerated. No. You see, there's a presumption of innocence until proven guilty. How do you assume that one petition against you was dismissed?
This was many charges.
No, you see, the multiplicity or the multitude nature of the charges do not constitute proof. That's the law.
Okay. Yeah.
You see, however plenty the charges are, do not constitute your liability. It must be established, and evidence must be led and recanted. You are the pinnacle. You are the arrowhead of our judiciary. Why are you in a state of trepidation?
Right.
One petition came, it failed. These ones, you must be able to have a brave face and deal with the issues.
Okay.
If I were her. But this pension of running to the media, using different lawyers and filing all sorts of process, you are in the High Court, you are in the Supreme Court. I'm sure even if the rules permitted, she would have gone to the Court of Appeal. Now you are in before ECOWAS Court. Okay. No, she's doing what we call forum shopping. Senior, let's be.
Okay,
Look, she's doing forum shopping.
Let's not kick her. She's already
She taught us law. When you go to court, she will put you right. She taught us law.
We don't need to kick her more.
At the bar, she's doing forum shopping.
Nelson Robson,
And I think she should stop it.
And
let's go through this matter.
Now,
she may not be guilty after all.
Okay.
She's painting herself that she's guilty before charged.
Right. Chief Justice Mata, I know you've been trying to speak to me.
Quick one. That is the issues about the judiciary. It's not only about law. Yeah. It is first political science before you talk about law. Yeah. Okay. And so I can see that oftentimes we tend to allow the lawyers to have their bite enough.
Oh no, not at all. That was not meant to. It was
But let me. So we move on. Let me just say that in Ghana, as we have it today, there are only a few people who are bold enough to offer counsel. Yes. And such few people would usually stay away from you if you exhibit a certain persona that makes you look impervious to advice? It appears that, look, our fine Chief Justice, in my view, it appears that no one is advising her well. So that's how come, in my view, what she's doing, I would say that she is on a legally and politically suicidal and self-incriminating mission that may ruin who she could be for Ghana in future.
Right.
Unfortunately, because of the nauseating and hypocritical practice of partisan politics, elders who have to speak have remained silent.
Right.
But I think that giant strides will be made in our democracy, especially in our drive towards democratic maturity, when elders who are expected to wield some moderating influences begin to intervene in some of these things. I'm thinking that people should just call her behind the scenes and say that, well, there's a process that has been initiated. Just allow the processes to go on, mount your defense and all that. At the end of the day, if you are exonerated, so be it. Okay. If you are guilty, I mean, so be it. But to allow her to be going from one place to the other and other, in my view, if the elders do not speak, we may also be embarrassing ourselves. He's gone to ECOWAS. So what impression is she creating, for Ghana and our judicial independence and our democracy out there? So I expect people like, we have the Ato Forson and all that. Let her be called and be spoken to. We are not saying that she should not go through the process. She should be made to mount a defense, but in a very calm manner, so that at the end of the day, we would all have the processes being respected. I think that should be the way to go. So, elders, once upon a time, Reverend Professor Marty was calling on you. We are calling on you. Please intervene.
Thank you very much. Now, that leads us to the next issue. This is what Dr. Edward Omanebuama, the Minister in charge of Defense, said yesterday about the presidential jet. The series of postponements when the jet was to return to Ghana. The inspection is expected to be completed 31st of July. What is more worrying is that Ghana's presidential jet was grounded in France due to severe corrosion. Take a look.
The presidential jet, Falcon 900 EX, easy registration number 9GEXE, was unavailable on Thursday, 22nd May 2025, when the Vice President returned to Ghana. The aircraft has been undergoing a 24-monthly or 1,600 flight hour inspection in France since 11th March 2025. After a series of postponements of when the jet was to return to Ghana due to risky multifocal massive defects identified and being worked on, the inspection is expected to be completed by 31st July 2025. There is corrosion in the air intake plug receptacle of the second engine of the aircraft, intermittent tripping of the starter generator of the second engine. There's a need to install a new turbo fan. Being more specific, the fuel tank is also corroded, the left-hand feeder tank corroded, right-hand feeder tank corroded, left-hand center wing tank heavily corroded, right-hand center wing tank heavily corroded. The turbo fan also heavily corroded.
That's how troubling the picture is with the presidential jet as it stands now. And the minister answered why the vice president, Professor Nana Gyamfi, then could not use the presidential jet upon her return on the 22nd of May, 2025. Hearing this, and the full details of the complement of it you find on 3news.com, is troubling, to say the least, is it not? And then I'll start off with you, Mr. Gotin, from the security perspective, because you've been talking about this for quite a while now. Now we're hearing the full complement of the problem that is wrong with this jet. How does it strike you?
Alfred, in fact, this is very troubling, and I'm happy that this subject matter is coming right on your show. I remember you interviewed me when Akufo Addo was the president. It was a news item, and I called for a new presidential jet for the country. At that time, I labeled this presidential jet as a flying coffin. And given our stature internationally, even if you look at this presidential jet, look at that of Senegal. They use a Boeing, right? We should leave politics aside and treat this matter as a serious national security issue. Are we not talking about it now? So I'm calling on Parliament and the various political parties to, for at least, for once, put Ghana first. And let's treat this as a national emergency. And let's understand that security is very expensive. You see, the Air Force One, the resources the American taxpayer pays at the behest of Trump. Why can't we do that at the behest of our own president? And we want to, more often than not, trivialize the issues as if it's a luxury. No. Look at the consequences if you should lose a head of state. The cost to the taxpayer and the changes that may happen that might not even favor the taxpayer. To me, Alfred, this is not an issue of politics. We can all see it, even at the moment, it's not even in the country. Let's have a national conversation around this thing. And because of time, I'll leave it for my other panelists to...
Because you've done some work in this. Because, look, the last time we spoke about this was about 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Right? This interview you're referring to was 6 years ago.
6 years ago, yes.
And, you know, we've danced around this issue. But obviously, the alternative was not to be renting at that cost.
That would have been very expensive, because if you look at the presidency of Nana Akufo Addo, truth be told, they foresaw some of these challenges. That is why the presidential jet, more often than not, was not in use. They took the option of renting. And you know, politics in this country runs deep. They won't come out like the current defense minister has been bold. Look, to mention that a presidential jet to the People's Assembly, I'm talking about Parliament, indicating this level of damage to the presidential jet, I think if we put this analysis together, no one will even advise the president, after all of this has been put in place, for him to use this presidential jet. I would defer this to the Ghana Armed Forces, the Air Force, because we have very beautiful engineers who advise on some of these things. I remember when Nana Akufo Addo rented that famous jet, the former defense minister said, Nituo said they needed something could bathe inside and things. These were the same issues that were confronting the country. But they were not bold enough to come out and let the good people of this country know. To me, it's not about the but or the if. We need a new presidential jet befitting the status of Ghana at this time.
As a sovereign nation.
As a sovereign nation, how can we be going for international summit and conferences? You see how other countries arrive. And Ghana, given our name internationally, will be renting, or at one point the president is using this and making stuff he's not supposed to do. You understand? So we have to prioritize the security of our president, and at this time we should have a consensus burden on this matter.
Well, you talk about the corrosion, the brief that we played, even the fuel area.
Even the tank. That is serious.
It's experiencing corrosion.
Yes.
And you have done, I saw one of your write-ups on this aircraft.
Yes.
And it corroborates a number of the things that the minister indicated there. The defects experienced during normal operation of the aircraft, and the rectification were beyond the unit's capacity and so on, that they identified.
Yeah.
And then now we're talking about the LH feeder tank corrosion, RH feeder tank corrosion, and the fuel tank corrosion, the RH center wing. There's the right-hand center wing tank, heavy corrosion, the left-hand center wing tank, heavy corrosion, the right-hand feeder tank corrosion, left-hand, all of this.
So, Afriyie, with all that you are mentioning, what again is left of the aircraft? In either jurisdiction, they will ground this aircraft immediately. They will ground this aircraft. Look, you see, look, national security should take certain things serious. When we write about some of these things, they don't take us serious. Politicking in this country is not taking us anywhere. And when it comes to issues of national security, I will beg that we rally behind as a country. Because if we get a new aircraft today, it's not only John Dramani Mahama who is going to use it. When he exits, someone will come. It will be at the behest of whoever become our next president. How do you even know if Emmanuel Coutinho will not be the next president of Ghana? Do you know the doings of the Lord?
Certainly not.
So let's have a national conversation on this thing. And to me, it's not but or if. We need a new presidential jet for this country.
The majority chief whip is here, and because this matter has been topical in Parliament a number of times in the past and present. And yesterday, you listened to the defense minister. He talks about the worrying pattern of delays showing in terms of the maintenance, showing the aging presidential. 2020, there was no delay in the maintenance. 2021, no delay. But between 2022 and 2023, there was a 2.5 monthly delay. 2024, 2 months delay. And then in 2025, exactly 4 months today. That was yesterday, July 11, and still counting. Now, when this matter came up and he presented it in Parliament, what was the reaction and what should be the conversation about this going forward to deal with this troubling situation with our presidential jet, which Mr. Coutinho says is a flying coffin? Nobody has to be in it, if that's the case.
Okay, so if you recall, I think 3 years ago, the Minister of Defense came to brief the House when the issue of when Okujeto was constantly revealing details of the president hiring expensive flights for his official travels abroad. So matters got to a head. So the then Defense Minister, Honorable Dominic Nitiwo, was invited to brief the House. He didn't give us this sort of detailed analysis. He came to brief the House, and he himself ended up engaging in heated comments. Why? Because we were asking for details so that Parliament could be properly apprised and give some directives in terms of budgetary allocation for the needed things to be done. Everything was about national security. When we probed, so the questioning was led by, if I recall, our leader, Haruna Idrisu then, and our majority whip, Honorable Muntaka, and the chairman for the ranking for defense and interior at the time, Siniagaga. They led the questioning. Nitiwo won't say anything. He was very cagey and evasive. Everything was about national security, so he won't reveal. And the matter ended up became very political. That was how come he used this phrase that the president, they were hiring private jets because in the course of between 2 points, the president needed to refresh in the air. You remember? So it became thank you. No, he used the phrase refresh in the air. So we said, so the president has been showering in the air. He said yes. So it became, a degeneration into politics. We led him into that part, and he admitted.
Leaders not
but we did, and he fell. So, but that's on a lighter note. But you see, this one, Honorable Asefa asked the question. And you see that Dr. Omani Bawumia took his time to explain into technical details. And I have the report here. confidential though, because it got to a stage he needed to do that to provide some clarity on the matter so that Parliament can decide what to do, whether to provide, to direct the finance minister provide the needed funds for a new jet. We don't know. But it's giving us the grim circumstances of the presidential jet as it is. It may be worth repeating. The RH engine wings corroded. RH wing turbine heavily corroded. The LH wing and engine corroded, heavily corroded.
Even the fuel tank.
The corroded. We mix. Look, for after every 1,600 flight hours, the plane was to have, like vehicle, they'll tell you after every 5,000 kilometers, you need to do servicing. So, or after every 6 months, you need to do servicing, whichever comes quicker, either the mileage or the number of months. So for every 2 years, you need to send the aircraft for inspection. Or when you do 1,600 flight hours, whichever is. We were not doing it. We practically abandoned the aircraft to have a justification to be hiring private jets. Yes. That is what I want to say. So the aircraft, like he said, it's not fit for purpose. It's in Le Bijou, Le Bijouette in France. The way it is, aircraft can be refitted and retrofitted. It means the whole aircraft must be taken apart and new parts bought and fitted to it. Do we want to do that? Or we purchase costs? Great.
Purchasing
comparatively.
Always, and we have always made the argument that buying is better than refitting.
Because look, all the private airlines around, sometimes that's what they do. Aircraft, they don't throw them away. You take the parts, the old parts off. The skeletal thing is there, then you buy the new. Like what people do for Land Cruisers now. Somebody will take his 2014 Land Cruiser and spec it, what we call specking. That's what they do for aircraft. But do we want to do that as a state, or we buy a brand new? That should be the focus of the argument. So we're very grateful for the Honorable Defense Minister for coming to apprise the House of this grim and terrible state of our favorite presidential jet. We don't even have a national carrier. So the only national carrier that is flying our flag at international events and in the air is the presidential jet. So we don't have any entity now in the air flying the Black Star, the red, gold, green with the Black Star in the middle.
Look at the presidential aircraft for even Togo.
Yes,
Togo. Just Togo.
Yes.
Togo.
So we need, look, like you said, politics aside, we need to take certain pragmatic steps as a nation. We are growing. Look at Accra. Accra need to look modern. We are struggling. We can't even do urban renewal. You go to Abidjan here, you come back, and you are sad. Look at what Talon is doing in Cotonou. The massive things that he's doing. So we need to support the government to take some of these proactive measures and give ourselves some facelift in these matters. So for me, Okanse, we may have to take a decision. We don't need to play politics into it. We can decide as a nation we should get it maybe next year or the year after that, if our financial situation improves. We give ourselves timeline. That's why people are talking about a development plan. All these things will fit into a certain long-term development plan. Then we conduct ourselves and issue policies and programs and plans in accordance with the dictates of the plan. We want to encourage the engineers within the Ghana Air Force to come with recommendations. Because they have prepared the technical report. They must make recommendations to the minister who will take it to cabinet.
They recommended long ago for a new presidential jet for the state.
Okay, I haven't seen that one. So
they had.
So I will.
The time we're doing.
I will give them the benefit of the doubt that they have prepared a new technical report for the minister. They should follow it up.
Some of
they've even given the implications.
In private.
Okay.
That politics has been the reason. This is so risky. This is that. But when they talk, they don't get the voice. And with your recommendation of next year and stuff, I think it should be immediate.
Okay.
Because security is very expensive.
Yes, I agree.
You can't abandon the aircraft in France and waiting to buy another one next year. Are you going to be renting for the president? Is that not a cost to the taxpayer? Is that not what we have all been against? So if there's the need,
let me conclude quickly, then you can. So I'm saying that let them make the firm recommendation and give to their boss, the sector minister, who will take it to cabinet, to engage cabinet. Cabinet will take a decision, come to parliament, will look at it, and then parliament will pass a resolution and give some directives. Then I believe we can make progress on the matter.
Prof.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.